May 21, 2008, the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow was electric, pulsating with the energy of nearly 70,000 souls. Across the planet, hundreds of millions tuned in, captivated by the first all-English Champions League final in history. For many, a live ticket was but a dream, with the cheapest seats soaring to a staggering €2.225. The spectacle was immense, but so were the concerns. Experts worried about the stadium's infamous artificial turf. Heeding the calls, UEFA mandated a switch to natural grass. The Moscow authorities invested a fortune, $3 million, to raise the pitch by 35 centimeters. But time was the enemy they couldn't conquer. The harsh Russian winter had only just retreated, leaving mere days for the new sod to bind. The result was a surface far from perfect, a patchwork of green under the brightest lights. The roots needed weeks to take hold, but the brutal winter made an earlier start impossible. To expect a perfect pitch, laid just 15 days ago, was a monumental challenge. The ball won't travel truly here. The bounce will be unpredictable, nothing like the pristine fields we prepare back in England. A legendary groundsman voiced his frustration, a sentiment of shame for the stage that was set. This is the most prestigious club match in Europe. These artists, these players, deserve a masterpiece of a pitch, not this stitched-together solution. Yet, for the two English gladiators, this imperfect natural grass was still a far cry better than the synthetic alternative. I have no worries. UEFA made the right call. I'm just happy they replaced the artificial turf. The surface? The pitch at Old Trafford in February and March isn't much better, let me tell you. I know exactly which boots to wear for this battle. This pitch in Luzhniki won't dictate how we play. When John Terry spoke those words, he had no way of knowing that a cruel twist of fate, a slip of his own foot, would later send him and every Chelsea fan home wrapped in the deepest despair. As the teams prepared for battle, both managers wrestled with key absences. For Manchester United, the long-term injury to Gary Neville had forced Wes Brown into the right-back role. A solid backline of Patrice Evra, Nemanja Vidic, and Rio Ferdinand stood guard before the legendary Edwin van der Sar. In midfield, the engine room featured Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes, and the sensational Cristiano Ronaldo, who had already netted 8 times that European campaign. The major surprise came with the selection of Owen Hargreaves, the preseason arrival from Bayern Munich, who got the nod over Park Ji-sung or Ryan Giggs. Leading the attack were Carlos Tevez and Wayne Rooney, each with 4 Champions League goals to their name that season. I tried to take my usual afternoon nap, but I think I only managed 20 minutes. This is the biggest stage. The pressure is immense, and I know the team that handles it better will be the one lifting that trophy. Chelsea faced their own crisis at right back, with both Paulo Ferreira and Michael Essien unavailable. It was Essien who was tasked with the Herculean job of containing the explosive Ronaldo. Ashley Cole held the left, while the formidable center-back pairing of John Terry and Ricardo Carvalho protected goalkeeper Petr Cech. The heart of their midfield boasted world-class talent, Frank Lampard, Michael Ballack, and the relentless Claude Makelele. The attacking threat was led by the powerful Didier Drogba, supported by the wing play of Joe Cole and Florent Malota. On the bench, a wealth of firepower waited in Nicolas Anelka, Solomon Kalou, and Andriy Shevchenko. When the referee's whistle pierced the air, the crowd erupted, but on the pitch, a tense, cautious dance began. The tension inside the Luzhniki Stadium was palpable. This was the Champions League final, and a single mistake could be catastrophic. In the 14th minute, a clear sign of the pitch's poor condition emerged as Ashley Cole was forced to change his boots. This was far from the pristine turf of Stamford Bridge or Old Trafford. In the 20th minute, a Chelsea counterattack, born from a Hargreaves free kick, ended with Paul Scholes fouling Makelele. The aftermath was stark. Blood poured from Scholes' nose. Igniting tempers, Chelsea players swarmed the referee, demanding a harsher punishment. Replays showed Scholes had jumped into the challenge with excessive force. He was fortunate the Slovakian referee brandished only a yellow card. Perhaps the sight of Scholes' bloodied face influenced the decision, softening it just a fraction. He wasn't even contesting the ball. His intention was clear, a dirty play. An elbow to the back of my head, and it killed a dangerous counter. The yellow card was far too kind for Scholes. It was a 50-50 challenge. I was just trying to win the header. A dirty play? Look who's the one bleeding here. While Scholes received treatment, Chelsea pressed forward, winning a corner. Captain John Terry launched himself into the air but couldn't make a clean connection. Just 4 minutes later, Cristiano Ronaldo demonstrated what perfect timing looked like. Wes Brown, on his weaker foot, delivered a looping cross into the Chelsea box. Ronaldo soared above Michael Essien, powering a header into the net and stunning the Chelsea defender and millions of fans worldwide. That is Ronaldo's 9th goal in this Champions League campaign. 4 of them have come with his head. He's evolving into a complete global superstar. Only 3 minutes later, Brown crossed again and Ronaldo rose once more to head the ball go outward, but Chelsea's defenders scrambled it clear. Essien was struggling in his defensive duties. Manchester United were ruthlessly exploiting the right flank of Chelsea's defense. In the 33rd minute, Chelsea finally manufactured their best chance. A slick combination between Frank Lampard and Didier Drogba sent Michael Ballack bursting into the box. Only the legendary reflexes of Edwin van der Sar kept Manchester United level. Rio Ferdinand had been caught indecisive. From the resulting corner, van der Sar commandingly punched clear, sparking a lethal United counterattack. Wayne Rooney spotted Ronaldo's run and unleashed a breathtaking 50-yard cross-field pass. Ronaldo quickly centered the ball, but Carlos Tevez was denied by the formidable Petr Cech. As the ball spilled out, Michael Carrick's follow-up shot was also met with a resolute save from the Czech goalkeeper's hands. Those were incredible, game-changing saves. His reflexes and anticipation are second to none. It felt like a goal was inevitable, but Petr Cech defiantly said no. As the first half edged towards its conclusion, John Terry surged forward unexpectedly, carving open a chance for Ashley Cole with a precise pass. But Wes Brown was in the midst of one of the most memorable performances of his career. A perfectly timed shoulder charge left the referee uninterested and left Chelsea's appeals in vain. He clearly threw himself in that direction. It was a normal challenge, but he even lunged into the box to go down. I think the referee is smart enough to see what's really happening. Then, in the final minute of stoppage time, Chelsea's relentless pressure finally paid off. Even if fortune played a part, Michael Essien attempted to make amends with a powerful long-range strike. But it deflected into the path of Frank Lampard. The ball took a cruel bounce off Nemanja Vidic, then Rio Ferdinand, falling perfectly for the Chelsea midfielder. Though Edwin van der Sar reacted, the unlucky deflection left him stranded. The score was level. For the first half hour, we weren't playing a Champions League final, it was more like a friendly. Then we started to change, to adapt, and to fight harder. My goal came at a crucial moment. It gives us confidence for the second half. We can be proud of how we fought our way back into this match. And indeed, in the second half, Chelsea emerged as the dominant force. They pressed relentlessly. In the 55th minute, Essien exploded with blistering pace onto a pass from Malota, held off Cristiano Ronaldo, and then weaved past 2 more defenders to create a shooting chance. Unfortunately, his effort with his weaker foot sailed wide. Just 3 minutes later, another Manchester United player was left on the turf with a bloodied nose. This time, it was Owen Hargreaves, caught by Makelele's swinging arm as he tried to win the ball. It appeared accidental, and no card was shown, a decision that infuriated Hargreaves, especially since Makelele was already on a yellow from the 21st minute. Why wasn't it a second yellow? The assistant referee had a clear view. And yet, nothing. Perhaps my nose started bleeding by itself? The two teams remained locked in a tense stalemate. It wasn't until the 87th minute that the first substitution was made. Ryan Giggs replaced Paul Scholes. This was the Welshman's 759th appearance for Manchester United, breaking the legendary record of Sir Bobby Charlton. I've known Ryan since he was 15, and he's proven his worth to this club time and again. I'm immensely proud of his achievement, and if anyone was to break my record, I'm delighted it's Ryan. At 90 plus 2 minutes, the whistle blew on a tense and dramatic 90 minutes. Chelsea had unleashed a total of 14 shots in the second half compared to United's 4. But they couldn't find the breakthrough. Solomon Kalou was Chelsea's first change, replacing Florent Malota. But the spotlight remained on Frank Lampard, who came agonizingly close to a winner. A neat turn and shot from Chelsea's number 8 beat Edwin van der Sar, only to cannon back off the crossbar. The tit-for-tat battle continued, and Ryan Giggs forced a nervous moment in the Chelsea goal. But John Terry stood firm with a heroic block. Ryan made a positive impact the moment he came on. He would have scored in extra time if not for Terry's last-ditch clearance. That would have been the killer blow. Years later, in his autobiography, Didier Drogba revealed the demands he made during that fateful 2008 final. The clock was ticking down, and I was growing increasingly frustrated. I knew I was playing below my potential. I could see the exhaustion etched on the faces of Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic. I knew they were just hanging on, hoping for penalties. I ran over to the manager on the touchline and told him, "We need to play with 2 strikers. The goal will come if we do. Me, Nico, anyone, but we must have 2 central strikers on the pitch." In the 99th minute, Nicolas Anelka was introduced, replacing Joe Cole. However, he was deployed on the wing, doing little to relieve the pressure on Drogba or occupy Manchester United's formidable centre-back pairing. Ironically, it was this £15 million winter signing who would ultimately become the man to seal Chelsea's fate. At the 101-minute mark, Nani came on for Wayne Rooney, who, despite covering over 10 kilometers, had a quiet and ineffective game by his standards. As the second period of extra time entered its final 4 minutes, the toll of a grueling 116 minutes became evident. Chelsea players began to cramp up. A contentious moment erupted when Carlos Tevez, in a move Chelsea players saw as against the spirit of fair play, refused to return the ball after an injury stoppage. A heated confrontation ensued, with players from both sides pushing and shoving. After a long delay and attempts to calm the situation, the Slovakian referee made his decisive call. A yellow card for Michael Ballack, and a straight red card for Didier Drogba. Tevez also received a booking. Drogba had slapped Vidic in the face, an act that forced him to leave the pitch in disgrace. Vidic pushed me, and my reaction was instinctive, a light slap on his face. It was nothing serious, but the referee was standing right there and gave me the red card. It was a nightmare. I was in disbelief. The walk from the pitch to the dressing room felt endless, with one terrible thought haunting me: it's over. This might be my last game for Chelsea. Despite the one-man advantage in the dying moments, Manchester United couldn't find a winning goal. The match would be settled by the cruel lottery of a penalty shootout. An ultimate test for the 2 world-class goalkeepers, Edwin van der Sar and Petr Cech. Manchester United shot first. Carlos Tevez stepped up, and the Argentine made no mistake, coolly sending Cech the wrong way. 1-0 to United. For Chelsea, Michael Ballack responded with ice in his veins, confidently beating Van der Sar to level the shootout. In the second round, both Michael Carrick for United and Giuliano Belletti, who had been subbed on in the 124th minute specifically to take a penalty, converted their spot kicks. The score was tied 2-2. Then, Cristiano Ronaldo stepped forward. The likely Ballon d'Or winner and top scorer of the competition with 9 goals kissed the ball, placed it carefully, and took his signature stuttering run-up. But his powerful shot was brilliantly saved by Petr Cech. Ronaldo held his face in his hands, a vision of disaster unfolding before him. I was speechless. I thought we would lose because of my missed penalty. I believed it was going to be the worst day of my career. Next for Chelsea was Frank Lampard, their inspirational midfielder who had been magnificent all game. He struck the ball cleanly, and despite Van der Sar getting a hand to it, he couldn't keep it out. Chelsea led 3-2 in the shootout. In the 4th round, both Owen Hargreaves and Ashley Cole scored impeccably, leaving the goalkeepers with no chance. The immense pressure now fell squarely on the final takers. A heavy, dramatic rain began to fall over the Luzhniki Stadium, but it couldn't dampen the hope swelling in the hearts of John Terry and the Chelsea fans. It was the most tense moment. The rain was pouring down. We had actually imported a special drying powder from Slovakia, worth nearly £150, to help the pitch absorb water quickly, prevent mud, and avoid players slipping. We'd used it at famous grounds like Arsenal's Emirates and the Athens Olympic Stadium. But I wasn't sure if it would be enough for Luzhniki's troubled surface. If only the game had ended in 90 minutes, everything would have been perfect. The young 21-year-old winger, Nani, who had been purchased from Sporting CP, was now tasked with taking a crucial penalty for Manchester United. If he failed against the legendary Petr Cech, the title would belong to Chelsea. The connection was solid, but a moment of luck for the Red Devils saw the ball hit the back of the net. For the final kick, Chelsea captain John Terry stepped up. An incredible twist of fate meant his goal would deliver Chelsea their first ever Champions League title. And his teammates had full faith in him. The Manchester United players barely dared to breathe as they watched. Terry did deceive the goalkeeper, but a devastating slip in the rain caused his standing foot to give way, sending the ball crashing against the post and wide. The Chelsea captain sunk to his knees in despair. He had been unable to finish the match for his team. His sliding planted foot on the slick surface led to a mis-hit, leaving the Chelsea players with an overwhelming sense of regret. The pre-match comments about the treacherous pitch had come back to haunt Chelsea's own leader. I will never forget that moment. After many years, the pain has lessened a little, but there are nights when I wake up and Boom. It's right there in front of me. It will never fully go away. The feeling of disappointment and immense guilt. The sixth round of kicks would now be sudden death. It was another young player's turn. Anderson, the substitute, brought on in extra time, showed immense composure to convert his penalty, releasing the pressure for Manchester United. The score was now 5-4 to the Red Devils. In the VIP box, Chelsea's owner Roman Abramovich clutched his hand to his chest in agony. The pressure was now back on Chelsea, but Solomon Kalou held his nerve to level the score at 5-5. The next taker was the veteran Ryan Giggs. Every step he took carried the immense weight of expectation from the fans. The pressure was almost palpable. But, leaning on his vast experience, Giggs knew exactly how to handle it, coolly slotting the ball home to push the pressure right back onto Chelsea. If this penalty failed, Chelsea would be eliminated. The responsibility fell to Nicolas Anelka. He seemed very calm. As a striker, you know how to stay composed to score. However, I don't think he felt confident as he stepped up. I did a little shuffle. With everything that had happened, I just went to my left. I knew they often shot to my left, and he was caught out trying to do the opposite. It was unclear if that mind game affected Anelka's psychology. All that was known is that it was all over after the Dutch goalkeeper, Edwin van der Sar, made the decisive save. The Manchester United players rushed to celebrate with their hero. As for Cristiano Ronaldo, he collapsed onto the pitch and cried like a child. Just minutes earlier, his own missed penalty had nearly cost his team the title. Now, he had won the first Champions League of his career. The sheer, unbridled joy of Manchester United and the utter desolation of Chelsea created two opposing realities on the pitch. I won the final in 1995 with Ajax, but when I lost the Champions League final in '96, I was heartbroken and didn't leave my house for 3 days. So I understand how they feel right now. I'm so grateful to have received that trophy from Alex Ferguson at 34. Coming to Manchester United, sometimes I wonder why it didn't happen sooner. But never mind, I have 2 Champions League titles now. John Terry also cried, but they were tears of self-blame. Anelka may have missed the final kick, but this defeat for Chelsea would always belong to John Terry. The drama of the match had culminated in the penalty shootout, and there, fate had chosen Manchester United as the champions. If the heavy rain hadn't arrived at that precise moment, perhaps Terry would not have slipped, and everything would have been perfect for the London club. But that is football. The most wonderful or the most terrible things can happen at any moment, sometimes separated by just a few seconds. It was very difficult for me. My mother had just passed away the previous month. It was so unfortunate for the Champions League final to come at this time. But football was the only thing that kept me focused on something. We will come back stronger and become a more solid unit. It's truly a pity that everything was decided by penalties. I think it was fate. We were brilliant in the first half and should have been leading by 3 goals. Chelsea was the better team in the second half, but we came back into the game, and luck smiled on us in the shootout. It's hard to describe the details of losing such a big game. I just remember how painful it was. I think I and the whole team played a great match. We were on the same level as our opponent and had many chances to finish the game. But in the end, what happened was unbelievable. We were one slip away from the Champions Cup. No one could say Manchester United did not deserve to be champions that season. It was simply that they were luckier in the decisive moments. Chelsea would later get their hands on the Champions League trophy for the first time in 2012 after beating Bayern Munich in another dramatic penalty shootout. A moment when fate finally chose them to be the new kings of Europe.